Hey, welcome. Hey, I'm Steve Krenz for Guitar Gathering. Welcome to this final session in our Travis Picking Bootcamp. Now, there's a PDF that goes along with this. You can click the link in the YouTube description down below, which will take you to guitargathering.com, and it will get you to the Travis Picking Bootcamp files there. You need to click the button that says download this file, and it will give you two options. And we're going to be talking about the intermediate version of Freight Train. Now, there's a basic version that's there too, but we're going to be talking about the intermediate version as well. So I'm going to give you a second to print that out. So go ahead and if you need to print that out, go ahead and print that out. Grab your guitar, and we're just going to jump right into it. Let me play this version of it for you to get started, and then I'll teach it to you, and we'll see if we can learn this great song from Elizabeth Cotten. So I'll kind of do it at a medium speed here. Little Chet Atkins ending there. Okay, it was kind of short, so if you wanted to repeat it, you could just repeat, take it around after, just not do the very last bar, and then jump right back into it again. So that's the intermediate version, a little bit up from the basic version that we had been doing there. All right. So let's get right into this. You'll notice I've got the finger numbers in a circle, so that's what those circle notes are there. I've got the music notation, I've got the tab, I've got the chord blocks up there, the shapes that we're using. So with all that information, we hopefully will give you all the information you need to learn this classic thumb-picking song. So let's get started. I'm in the open position, and we're going to go third finger on the G, open A, second finger on the B, and then I do my regular C chord. This is pretty much how it was in the basic version, but it's going to get kicked up here a little bit. So I have a C, but I have this high G there. Now, if you're just watching this, you don't have your guitar, this is going to be the most boring thing in the world. Get your guitar, let's learn something. You have the pinky on the high G, open E. All this is exactly like the basic version. Now, right here, I'm going to add, instead of just going the bass line, I'm going to add a little eighth note in there. A little ba-dum, okay? So if I started there at the beginning, hear that little boom, ba-dum. We're going to do that little arpeggiation several times through the piece, okay? Now, in the basic version, we stayed open. I gave you an open G7 version, but in this one, we're going to kick it up to the more of the traditional way of playing it, which is a bar G7. So we have this bar G7 here. So if you're weak on bar chords, you might stick close to that basic version. Okay, so here's the bar version, and if in the third measure there, you'll see that we have starts out on the G flat, and then I hammer on to my second finger to catch that G natural. Da-dee-dum is how it goes. So you've got to have a pretty strong bar to do that, and reach over here with your fourth finger to catch that F natural there. Okay. Now, if I go to measure 6, or actually, let me play that first line one more time. Bar. Now, measure 6, I come up here to a D minor. You could do a D minor 7th. I don't care because it doesn't hit that string. It only hits the 5th string, the 4th string, and the 6th string, and then the 1st string, the top, so it doesn't hit that 3rd string. Got to reach down with your first finger to catch the A. So all of that is underneath the bar. The only thing else is needed is your third finger on the fourth string, second finger on the second string. Okay, and here I'm going to do back to our G7, but I'm going to put my pinky down on this second finger E. So I've got that, and then I take it off, and here I do my little bumpy-dump arpeggiation again between beats 3 and 4. So that measure there would be... All right, so I know right there in those previous 4 bars, we've kicked it up quite a bit. Now, if you can do bar chords, great. Grab onto it and grab some of these things. If you're still working on your bar chords, then try the basic version. And you might also look at, we did a bar chord series, which is in our YouTube playlist there. It's all free. And that will get you strengthened up on bar chords. So don't think that you can't play bar chords. You can. You need to strengthen up your hands to do it. So I don't want to get into teaching you how to do bar chords. There's a whole series for that. It's all free. Check that out. Okay. So let's get to measure 8 then. Okay. Now this is back to what it was before. But instead of just hitting the C chord, I'm going to start with my first finger off and then put it on. Da-dee-dum. Like that. G goes out with my pinky, or third finger, and then my pinky on the high G. And here's that little arpeggiation between beats 3 and 4. Boom-ba-dum. So anytime you're doing a progression and you're trying to kick it up a little bit in a Travis picking style, you can just do that. All I'm hitting between beats 3 and 4 is the lower note, a middle note. I don't even care what it is. It's usually, here it tends to be the third string, but it could be the second or the fourth as well. And then it goes back down to either the fifth or the fourth string, whatever the normal bass pattern would be. Okay, so if I took out that little extra eighth note in there, it would just be the same as it was before. But if I add that in there, and I'm playing that, in that particular situation, I'm playing that with my middle finger. Everything else is with my thumb. Okay. All right, so if I play that second line for you, All right, now here at this E7, this is probably the toughest measure in the song right here. Okay, we hit the E, and you're playing an E7th like this, but I'm going to put my pinky down on the third fret of the second string. Okay, so I've got an E7, traditional E7, then I just add my pinky there on the second string. Now, so that's the chord. Now, but you'll also see there's a little smaller note that's right before that chord in beat 2. That's called a grace note in the biz. And what that is I'm just going to hammer on quickly one of those notes before the chord. Now here's what that sounds like. Do you hear that? Now, everybody always gets so bent out of shape about the grace note that they are not even paying attention to the chord. Let me tell you what's important. The chord. The chord is what is important. So get that first. Practice that first. Don't even worry about that dumb grace note. Just go. And get that chord. Get all of that before you even start to worry about that grace note. Some folks get so bent out of shape trying to get that grace note on. Don't worry about that grace note. That's just a little ornamentation. It's nothing. Okay? Once you get the chord, and you get that part of it down, then you can add that grace note in. Now, in beat 4 of measure 10, I'm hitting these 3 notes, a D, and an F. Well, how am I going to catch that first finger F? All right, bar it down to catch the third string, from the third to the first. So that whole measure would be. Okay, so I just barred really quickly with my first finger down here to catch that. Okay, you try and do that with me. I know this is complicated. This is like I said, if you can make it through this, the rest of the song's easy. Okay, so let's do it without the grace note first. So no grace note. Okay, we hit the E first. We hit the chord. We do our little bumpy dump. Then I bar my first finger to catch the D, D, and F. So all that again. Do it one more time. 1, 2, no grace note, and. Okay, now try and add the grace note if you want to. 1, 2, ready, go. Okay, and that's how you do that measure. Let's do it a couple times through. Make sure you got it. 1, 2, you know what to do. 2 more times. 1, 2, ready, go. 1 more time. 2, ready, go. All right, that's the toughest measure. If you can get that, you can get anything. And how do you get complicated measures? Well, you don't get frustrated at them and keep you hitting your head against the wall. Don't do that. You can conquer anything if you slow it down. That's what I've learned in life. You can conquer anything if you slow it down. If you're in doubt of what notes are coming where, look down in the tab, and that'll kind of make it clearer than sometimes when you see the music notation with all the ties, it gets a little complicated. Now do it one more time. I'll do it right. Ready? I just stay in this E7, and I do, again, our little bumpy dump between 3 and 4. A minor in measure 12. Same little arpeggiation there. Sorry. Now here, I got a little grace note going to the D from the first finger C to the pinky D. Okay, now, and that is a hammer on there. I should have put a little hammer-on thing there. Grace notes like that are almost always hammer-ons or pull-offs, okay? Then I go to an F. Now, before, this was all straight. Now I just anticipate that melody line, the top line with the stems up, a little bit there. Ooh, hear how that immediately gives it a little bit of a bounce to it? Let me play that again. This is measure, what is that, 13? Here's the trick. I'm not playing more than 1 note at a time, except for the first. That's the only time I play 2 notes. When in doubt, look at the tab, and you can see that I'm not playing more than 1 note, except for that first beat. Okay, the grace note, like we talked about in measure 10 and even in measure 12, those are hammer-ons there. So that would be, you wouldn't re-articulate that. You wouldn't go da-da. You just go da up. Or in the A minor, it'd be just a hammer-on. Okay, so let me play that line for us. In fact, you play it with me. Here we go. Measure 10. We're going to play that third line. 1, 2, slow, and... One more time. 1, 2, measure 10, and... Okay, that got you through that line. Okay, last line, next page. Before we were doing kind of an open G, doing that, but I thought I would kick it up a notch and get a little jazzy with it. So we're going to do a G 13th. I slipped in a jazz chord on you. Okay, so this third finger on the G, pinky on the F, second finger on the A, first finger on the C, and then the open E. Very jazzy chord. Okay, and I hit the G first, the chord, and then I do my little bumpy dump between 3 and 4. So that measure is. Okay, this is the 5 chord in the key of C. We're building up for the big ending. And then just to, I forgot to write in the chord there. It's a G 7 flat 9, and actually the C note, and this is in measure 15, that should actually be a B. I'll correct that. So the notes should be G, F, A flat with your first finger, open B. That's incorrect in the music there. I'll fix that. Okay, so it's going from this chord to this chord, and then we'll eventually spin out of it. So that measure there, measure 14 and 15 would be. Now this is tricky. You've got your fourth finger on that F, second beat of measure 15, and then we got to immediately get it off of him so he can catch this D, still with the fourth finger. So that measure would be. So you'll notice there's a little rest there because I got to move my finger there. Okay, and then we hit the octave C. And then we're going to do the old Chet Atkins ending. All right, so what am I doing there? I hit the octave C. Open D, hammer on from first to second, G, A. You can even do a hammer on there if you want to. So it's a pentatonic scale, but I add that one blues note in there, and then I hammer on that. You hear that lick all the time. Lands really well on guitar, and then, hey, what's that last chord? Oh my goodness, that looks complicated. It is a C6-9 chord, so it's got all kinds of notes in it, but it's basically a bar with your first finger way up here at the 7th fret, starting at the 5th string and going down. But on the last 2 strings, my second finger is going to come over, and he's going to bar the 2nd and the 1st string. So I have the notes that I'm playing are an E, an A, a D, a G, and a C. A very open sounding, very happy sounding chord. Okay, so that may be a complicated chord if you're not used to barring. I'm barring first and I'm barring second right here. Now, the key to barring is my knuckle will invert this way and that way. Now, usually we do it like this, but occasionally we'll need it to do inverting like that. And in this chord, we need to do that. So that's the chord. So let's do those last 2 bars. You hit the octave Cs. We do this pentatonic scale with the blues note. And then we do our chord. Now you'll notice there's this squiggly little line right next to that. What does that mean? Well, instead of hitting them all together, I'm going to go like a down strum with my pick. Bling, da-da-da-da-ding. That little. So I'm not hitting them all at the same time. I'm not going. I'm hitting downstroke to where it's just kind of a bring sort of a thing. All right, so let's do that whole last line. This is the 4th line, the next page. Starting at measure 14. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, one more time. Let's do it slow. Come on, gang, you can do it. 1, 2, slow, and... Let's play the whole song. You ready? Let's play the whole song. Super slow. 1, 2, 3, 4, beginning. Pinky on this high G, then open, pinky on the D, bar G7 with the hammer on. Hold it, I know that's hard, hold it. There you go, we're going to jump to a D minor at the 5th fret. I bar the G13th, you'll notice the little bar arc right there in measure 7 on the chord block. C chord, high G. Here comes that E7. There you go. Let's try and play it one more time. One more time. You can do it. You can do it. Just grab on. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, again, go. Pinky. Then pinky on this D. There you go. Okay, let me play it one time at tempo, so you've got a good reference of it. Now remember, you can always go back to it and slow down the video by going down to the little gear icon, the lower right-hand corner of your YouTube screen, and that will allow you to slow it down so you can practice with it slow. So I'm going to play it at tempo, though, so you can hear how fast it goes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. There you go. All right, that's the intermediate version of that song. So I hope you have enjoyed the little Travis picking. We didn't go too deep into Travis picking, but it was enough to get you started. Other great songs you may want to check out are Trombone, Windy and Warm. That's 2 great Chet Atkins songs that you can do as well, and those are great arrangements to get you started into Travis picking. So take a look at this stuff, and I hope you enjoy a little bit of the Travis picking, getting into the Travis picking style. Hey, I'm Steve Krenz for Guitar Gathering, and we'll catch you next time.